All right, we are joined today by Pam Aston, Senior Vice President here at the APA.
Senior VP.
Senior Vice President, Pam, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you all doing today?
Doing great.
Doing good. And I don't want to undersell this because Pam's been with APA for 37 years, right? This is probably the first time we've ever gotten her to do a public interview.
It is a big deal.
Yeah. This is like one of our most coveted interviews that we've landed here, folks. So I want you guys to understand how rare and special this is, right?
It really is. We had to pull some strings to get her here with us today.
We did. Twist that arm a little bit, but we couldn't think of someone better to speak on some of the contributions women have made to not only APA, but the sport of pool in general, really, during Women's History Month. So
Absolutely.
Well, I thank you all very much for dragging me into this. Thanks.
We appreciate you for being here today.
we're going to have some fun.
We are. So why don't we start out, Pam, by you telling us sort of your history here at APA.
All right. As Jason mentioned, I've been at the APA for 37 years, started back in 1988 when I was in my 20s. I was the 13th employee hired at APA and kind of came up through starting out in our central office area and as an executive assistant to the founders of the company. Went into the field, what was then called the field department, and then spent over 20 years as vice president before moving up to senior vice president 6 years ago.
Yeah, 37 years. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, I've been around 25 myself, but the amount of changes that you've seen over the years has just got to be remarkable. I mean, the transition to Vegas, for example, and some of the differences in how we've done handicapping and things. Just 37 years is a long time, a lot of change, I'm assuming, right?
Absolutely. And I'm just really proud to have been a part of that growth and expansion of the company over the years.
Yeah, big part of that. And so, I mean, over that time, and I'm sure you got a ton of fond memories, but like, what is your favorite part about your job, your role at APA?
That's actually pretty simple. It's the culture. It's the culture from our staff to our league operators and to our members. They absolutely develop a sense of community everywhere that we have leagues, and that community comes right on up through the league operators and through our staff, and it is literally like all one big family.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, could you have ever imagined when you started 37 years ago? And I mean, we talked a little bit about how you started, right? You were playing pool and you met some people and that kind of thing, but could you have ever imagined that you would end up serving such a prominent role with such a big organization?
No. No, not at all. I was in my 20s and I just came to work there and just wanted to do a good job. I would have had no idea how I would have grown in the roles I would have taken on with the company, as well as no idea that the company would look like it does today. I mean, we were just a small team of people at that time. As I mentioned, a 13th employee hired. We were just a small team of people working on everything together. So
even smaller group now that's probably still at APA that has more than 37 years. There's probably only a couple, and then take the founders out of the mix, there may be maybe only one.
There's one.
Yeah,
yes.
Elaine Rose is probably the
yep.
sole.
One of the daughters of one of the founders.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, she's the only one.
Years.
She's been there about 6 months longer than I have. So.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable. So we spent some time talking a little bit about Olindia Bell and Nancy Hubbard and their contributions to the organization, Pam, and kind of the things that they had to do early on to help make APA not just successful, but basically survive early on in terms of their families and things. But from a more personal perspective, what can you tell us about Olindia and Nancy and just kind of your view of them from having worked with them for so long?
They are just amazing women. They have been amazing women throughout everything for me with APA. They have absolutely contributed to my growth and my success there. They, like you said, they started out just working. I mean, they did anything and everything in the business once they actually came to work at the company. And prior to that, they were out there in other jobs, putting food on the table so that Terry and Larry could not only work on building the APA, but also go out there and play some pool to make some money that way as well. So they came into the company and doing anything and everything that needed to be done. When I came on board, Olindia was our CFO and took care of our finances all those years. And her financial acumen is what really brought the company up through the challenges, the early challenges, as well as bringing us through the pandemic a few years ago. So that is an amazing feat on her part. Nancy did everything. She did part of your all's job back then. She did merch sales.
Oh, wow.
She did, she sold apparel and cue sticks and even did the shipping on all of that kind of stuff. And then in her role as one of our officers, secretary of the company, she worked on all of our insurance and medical benefits and things like that. So they have just always been willing to jump right in there, including working at all of our events. They've worked side by side with us all of these years at all of our events, just like they're one of the staff.
Yeah, and they're still always out there. You'll see them around. And you know what I love about it, Pam, is that culturally with APA, I mean, everybody kind of pitches in and does what's necessary to, whether that's our events, whether that's organizationally. But it sounds like that culture has been in place for a very long time, and it's something that they kind of brought into the mix. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's, we've all always done whatever needs to be done, and a lot of that comes from them and, what they laid out, that path they laid out for all of us.
Yeah. So tell us some of the women. Again, we're recognizing Women's History Month and all the contributions that women have made to not just APA, but the sport of pool. I'm curious for you personally, and this isn't necessarily just APA or pool related, but who are some of the women that have had a big impact on you personally?
Well, obviously, professionally, that has been Nancy and Olindia, who I mentioned were always a huge part of my growth and success with the company. Renee, also our former president, was a huge part of my journey with APA. It's interesting that there are just some of the women pool players that we've been involved with and worked with have just, they've been wonderful people to work with. And I have to bring up Ava Lawrence in particular. She is just the most amazing and gracious woman that I know and has become a very good friend. So all of those people have helped shape who I've been with APA, as well as our league operators and some of our female league operators in particular, and several other members of our staff. But I can't end there without mentioning my mom, of course.
Sure.
Who's the reason I am who I am personally. She was always my biggest supporter. She thinks I'm amazing. So she thought I was amazing. She has since passed, but she was always there for me and just was always curious and wanted to know everything I was doing with my job. And so she really laid the foundation for my success at APA.
Yeah, and I'm sure she couldn't be more proud of the success.
Absolutely.
No, she very much was, yes.
Now, when you mention your success, sort of what organizational accomplishment are you most proud of when it comes to APA?
Well, I'm sure you guys know, and probably most of our league operators know, that's mostly probably the development enhancement of the handicap system, just working all the years through all the changes to the handicap system alongside the founders who created the system in the first place. And all the things we've done with our handicap review committee and just all the things that we do when we're in Las Vegas at our big events, and there's just so much to the handicap system, and I'm just happy to have been a part of the growth of that system.
Yeah, a huge part of that, no doubt. And so, Pam, I don't want to keep you too long, but one last question. I mean, overall, in your opinion, whether it's the APA members, because we got about a quarter of our members, quarter percentage of our members are female. You mentioned we've got a lot of female league operators. We got a lot of female corporate staff, including some of our top executives. I'm just curious, what in your opinion, what impact have women had on the success of APA?
Wow. Okay. So I guess we could start with in particular, the fact that there were 2 women, one of them being me, that really led the company for over 20 years. There's been a lot of things that with the female pool players, they just seem to be such a huge part of pool overall. When you watch pool on TV, and like when I talk to people about pool, and they say, "Oh, do you know Jeanette Lee? Do you know?" I mean, they've always been a huge part of what people see when they think about pool.
Yeah.
And just our players make up, female players make up a little over a quarter of our league, and I think they really help with the community part of the league as well. Not that the gentlemen don't, but the ladies really band people together and really help make those communities that we have out there.
Nice.
Absolutely.
That's a great answer. Community is certainly a big part of why APA is as successful it is. So, Pam, we really appreciate you taking the time. I know you stay very busy, and I know it's not your favorite thing to get in front of a camera, but
No.
It really should be, because you're fantastic.
You are great.
And we appreciate you taking the time to join us, and wish you nothing but success into the future. So thanks again.
Same to you all. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
very
Pam.
much.
All right. Thanks, Pam.
All right. Bye.
Take care.